It's 1:30 now.
Yeah, we're ready.
She's excused.
So we declare the meeting open officially. And our first item, of course, is the official registration of who's here. So the roll call,
Roll call, do I have Divine,
yes.
Boyle,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Miller,
Last names.
Robinson Walker,
Here.
Stack,
Here.
Thompson,
Here.
and Larry's excused.
Here.
Carol is
So there's
excused.
here. No, here's Larry right here.
Oh, okay, thank you.
I can leave.
That is a roll call. No, I need you here. Thank you.
Well, now, do we have any input from anybody on Zoom?
No input, there's no member forum today.
That's okay.
Okay.
And there's nobody coming in the door, so we can move to
Yes.
approval of the report of the minutes of our last meeting. Just remind you again that the reason we certify those minutes is because they become the record of decisions we made and discussions we made leading to decisions. Should that become important in the future or for future committee members who are not here at this point in history. So they're important. Are there any additions you'd like to add or corrections that didn't turn out the way you thought they should?
No.
Hearing none, let's declare them accepted and we'll move on to the next item, which is the member forum, and we don't have any candidates, so it's the chair's report. Well, let me say it's a new calendar year, not quite the Ross Moore system new year, but since it's a calendar year, I got to thinking, what about last year? What did we discover? What did we talk about? What did we think was worth pursuit of? And of course, we were overwhelmed by information from Ann and Jackie last time. Very constructive, however. So I thought we should think a little bit about the direction we would like to go in this next 12 months in terms of what input we could bring to the table and maybe what issues that either the staff members or the staff that you supervise bring to us. And I don't know what those are, but I would like to say that I've been very pleased with the response from the professional staff, but also from the residents who have come to these more specialized sessions. A couple of them are quite noticeable and been quite well established in that few months, really. But I'm wondering if there are more. For example, I'm wondering if we couldn't, I know we have the know-how to do it, it's a matter of us making a decision, if we couldn't have a special session for people who have limitations of mobility and they're on a walker. But some of them do come there. But I know there's a lot more that I see on other activities that I've never seen in the gym. And I wonder if we could go in that direction.
So are you talking about you want to have a discussion about gaps in programs?
I want us to focus on, could we expand the conversation we had last year about allowing a special accommodation, if you will, a special plan for people with certain limitations that wouldn't want to go to a gym down the street there because.
Right, so I will say, so there's a few things. So anything that we want to do conceptually, we just need to make sure we agendize it to have a full conversation.
Well, of course, I'm just.
By the nature of what we do, we make accommodations on a very regular basis to meet the resident where they are with your different levels of ability. And I know that I think everybody knows the team that's there. And they have different, really they're trainers on a wide spectrum of the people that are more advanced to people that are really just almost like rehabbing, like post-medical rehab, and getting back and restoring. And even people that need some type, like may have assisted devices and whatnot. So we don't have a formal program because it's baked into the service and the way we deliver service. So I just wanted to kind of put that as a baseline. But like, this isn't a place like just for brainstorm and riffs of programs. So if we could focus a little bit maybe, because I'm still not quite understanding what.
Well, I'm just starting off with the big picture. If we can get our heads around it, that's a worthwhile subject to pursue and think about and share and make contributions. The people, we're already getting, I think, from Jackie's tabulations, about half the population in a year has been to the rec center at least and used their fob. I'm not sure how accurate our records are of those that swim, because I know a number of times I've seen people go right by that clipboard up there in Hillside and they don't write their name down, so we don't know if they're they're not necessarily counted. I'm not sure how significant that is. But anyway, I'm just being philosophical as a kind of a starting point here to give us something to think about in going forward. And now, pardon me, yeah.
I just want to say one thing that I've noticed is that I don't think some people who have mobility problems don't realize evidently there's a special form or something that people fill out if they want the dial-a-bus to come near their residence, because some people just say that they're afraid to walk up the hill or down the hill to where the place is for them to meet.
Yeah.
And we could even have a notice. I've never seen a notice in the Rossmore News about how that's done, you know, how they get the form.
If I can interject, so because we're way out of scope of what this committee is for, and if you're looking at other committees and things that they're writing, transportation is it's really all over the place right now, including those programs. So I think we need to be really mindful to make sure the right committees, the right vehicles are addressing those issues. So, and again, like if you want to have a discussion of an item, the way it really would happen is, and again, we could work afterwards to define maybe like, you know, we usually meet to prep. What is it we want to do? Because it's for staff to give you some type of foundational information to then have discussion around, or else we end up doing this, pulling things that are, well, that's really planning and some other committees that are working on transportation right now between planning and then you have, I mean, KPI was looking at it as well. So if we can do that, I think why don't we do that when we kind of meet to prep for the next agenda? And we can make sure we can have something to frame a conversation that we can put to the community so they know we're having that conversation.
Yeah, I think a lot of things that we think might work, and you know better than I do, can be well, and I don't see the write-ups in the newspaper, but I don't search for them either. I look at that paper carefully every time. But for example, if we wanted to say something about any of our programs that we think are not particularly well populated, and of course it's very important, I think, we're giving you feedback now, very important that we keep refreshing people's minds in articles in the paper and signs about how you sign up for classes, because the one piece of information that I get more of to bring to you from the population that I'm around there is that people have a hard time getting into certain classes. One person gave me a chapter and verse.
I was just gonna mention, on the agenda, there's a place where we talk about items for consideration in future agendas.
I've
And
got
maybe
that
this
down
is where we talk about that rather than now.
I'm leading up to some of that, as a matter of fact.
But it's, Barry, it's really off agenda and we kind of need to stick to the structure of the
You guys
meeting.
like to be rigid. I'm a little bit more.
It's not about being
fluid.
rigid.
It's
I
all
mean,
right. It's all
we're
right.
really, we have to
Don't be
comply with
offended,
it as
yeah.
staff.
Okay, we'll conclude my thoughts there. I think I've made enough of an pronouncement. Is there any correspondence or other announcements that would be timely? Hearing none, we can progress to staff reports. I don't know how you want to do that. You want to do it first, Anna? Or-
I have, so there's no director's report, but Jackie does have her
Yeah.
Assistant Aquatics Ops support.
Yes.
So staff across the fitness and aquatics department continues to move forward with key administrative positions. Either field or other positions are in the final stages of hiring. We encourage everyone as new staff begin to appear at the fitness center to please feel free to welcome them and say hello. In terms of programming, several core, strength, and youth group fitness classes have returned to the schedule in December. An additional mat yoga class was added, and restorative yoga was introduced as a new weekly offering. Props are used in the restorative yoga class to support longer held poses and relaxing the body and mind, promoting stress relief and healing. Moving on to the aquatics operations, So during the Tice Pool replastering, aquatic staff successfully operated outdoor facilities, maintaining service continuity. The project concluded ahead of schedule and indoor operations returned on November 26th. Outdoor pools closed seasonally on December 1st as scheduled and are set to reopen March 1st of 2026. For fitness operations.
Ahead of schedule.
Yes.
Yeah, I want to say, thank you. Thank you. That was
On budget and ahead of schedule.
fantastic. I know.
We love that.
That was great.
I want to commend the staff for helping getting all that, everything ready and getting
You did a great
ahead
job
of
with that,
it.
Jackie.
Yeah, everybody was involved and had a hand in it, and everybody worked together to make that happen. So kudos to the staff. Went into fitness operations. Staff were busy during these November and December months, preparing their schedules for 2026, getting and setting their studio schedules. Additional equipment investments and maintenance were completed to ensure safety and quality of the programs. For fitness operations, staff have prepared their schedules. The fitness facility usage, the fitness center welcomed 316 new clients in this reporting period. Mondays, again, are the busiest day, and 9 a.m. remains the busiest time of the day. For personal trainings, November saw more unique clients. However, there were more personal training sessions overall in December. For the fitness center visits, the pools at the Tice Creek Fitness Center reopened the last Monday of November, resulting in the highest attendance of the month, with all the swimmers very eager to get back indoors. Overall visits remain consistently higher in December and November, with swimmers returning indoors. And visit trends based on the time of the day remain the same for both months. And for facility usage, for the aquatics, Dollar Pool had a higher attendance of 1,754 than the Hillside's pool attendance of 1,282, as water aerobic classes were moved to Dollar during that pool construction. Dollar and Hillside pools both saw a sharp decline in attendance in the last week of November. Because of course the Tice pools were reopened as well. The Dollar pool usage peaked at the 9 o'clock hour in the morning and had a second peak at 2 p.m. Both were times when water aerobic classes were typically taking place. And the Hillside's pool attendance peaked at 6 a.m. with early morning lap swimmers eager to get in, and had 2 more peaks at 1 and 3 p.m. generally when it's a little bit warmer outside.
Can I ask a question, Jackie?
Yeah.
16 new members over November, December, is that typical or is that an unusual number?
So it's people coming in, physically in, and also visiting the sites and new hits. So it encompasses New Year users over that. But as we ramp up for the new year, typically we start getting a little bit more interest, and I think we saw some more people filtering in December as well, and just to kind of get ahead of the New Year's resolutioners.
Yeah.
They got a head start on that.
I would think that that number represents a lot more work for all the staff when somebody new comes in.
Typically, that's the front desk is a little bit more busier because they have to get them signed up, have them fill out the waiver, and also provides support for them navigating through the waivers and questions they don't understand.
Thank the staff for us.
And boy, people, you can really tell it's January.
Yeah.
It's really busy in there now.
Yes, it is.
Another question. It looks like you're rearranging a lot of classes. I noticed that some classes are moving around. Is that just to make better use of the space?
Better use of the space and the trainers' schedules,
I've changed it a little bit.
trying to make sure that shifting in places where we need those classes and making sure that we have the space and the opportunity to make those changes and provide better options for the public.
Just based on the conversation I think we had last time, about parking, is one of your considerations parking?
Parking is one of our considerations moving forward into 2026, so we're focusing on that a bit more. We're looking at the classes and adding, of course, new staffing and their classes that they'll have, so.
Okay, thank you.
I think you mentioned adding a late afternoon class, which you hadn't had before, partly to distribute the population a little bit. Did you do that? Has that worked out? I forget which class it was, one of the large classes.
It was probably Tracy's classes,
Yeah, it
she
could be,
generally has the
yes.
later ones.
Yeah, I see her there.
Yes, her UGM classes are very popular.
Yeah. That's a good sign. On the fog,
Oh, Joan
pardon
has
me,
one.
Did you finish, Barry?
No, I can go after you. Yeah.
Okay. Jackie, I had a question about scheduling of the classes that are free, like Tracy's classes as an example. I noticed that when I booked it online, tried to book online, it said full, but the number wasn't filled up. Like there were 35 spaces, but only let's say 17 or 25. I can't remember the numbers, but it was only partially filled based on the numbers that show up. But I called the front desk and they told me that there are a certain number of spaces in the class that are reserved for people to call in or show up. So I didn't know that, and I wonder if that's something that should be communicated, could be communicated out to people. Because if it says full, I mean, I don't usually call because I don't want to bother the front desk, but I did and I got in. And so, it just so happened I discovered that. So
We might be able to add something on the messaging. Here, part of the issue is we have residents that are not computer savvy.
yes,
And based on the history of how people were signing up for classes, we needed to be equitable in a place where there's a little bit of a break in access or familiarity with technology.
Totally
So if we
agree.
were to do that, we don't want to then skew it, so now
I see.
more, just a portion number will say, well, I'm just going to be the first to call.
Yeah.
Like when it opens up.
It's tricky.
So I think there's a way we can try to do that, but it's got to be a gentle ease into it.
Yeah.
And we could assess the numbers and also see how long it's taking to fill the phone slots, to see if we could free up more. But I wouldn't want to put out this whole thing, you can sign up
Yes.
this way or.
I see.
Because it
People
just,
start calling.
I see, and then, they flood the front desk. I know that, I know several of the people that take the class with me, set their alarm, and they,
yeah,
they
exactly.
sign up for all the classes they want at 8 o'clock on that designated day, whether or not they're gonna take the class. And so, if you're late, like today, I think, or was it yesterday? I can't remember. It was like 45 minutes after the start of that booking.
Yeah.
I lost out.
And I will also say that, like with the new system that we're working with, the ability for someone to come in and just say, I'm taking all these 5 classes.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna be able to kind of limit numbers per resident.
Okay.
Per account that we have,
Okay.
because that also is skewing stuff. We can't do what we don't have the technology to do right now.
I know that's
And
limited.
so,
Yeah.
so there will be shifts, and that's coming around, I don't know if that also will be live in June, or if that's the phase after that. Yeah. So probably by the end of the year, we'll be moving to that, but we kind of need a little bit of,
Yeah.
just a little bit of patience until we get the technology to catch up with our success.
Yeah, and I appreciate
it's-
the attempt at fairness for everybody
Yeah.
based on,
But I
people's-
think that's it, like unfortunately, the systems that we have, they don't have that, the way you can do limits and have automatic wait lists and automatic notifications if somebody doesn't fill in. Our system now does not do that.
Right.
It'll be much more
The
streamlined.
Oh,
new
with the new-
system
with the
will
new
be able to
NetSuite?
do all that.
I mean, with the, is it-
Vermont system.
oh, it's Vermont system, okay.
But actually, I've been on the wait list for classes, and I do get an email notification that now I'm in the class.
True.
So it does work, but it just doesn't let you have as many people on the wait list as maybe would like to be on the wait list. But the other thing, Joni, I think you make a good point. There are a lot of people who sign up and then they just don't show up. They don't cancel. It's really frustrating, and I don't know how to get around that.
And you're tracking that? You guys are tracking that
You can't
too?
do it now. Again, it's like,
Yeah,
there are things
do
you
it
can't,
now.
so not unlike room reservations, you have a policy, you have your procedures, and we know there are these violations, you can't track it, manage it, measure it. And if you can't do that, even though you can see it anecdotally,
Yeah.
you need to have that so you can go to the resident and
Sure.
say,
Yep.
with an evidence-based argument, hey, you're not using this, so we need to make sure someone else can get that slot. So, we can't do that right now because it's based on something which isn't as a good measured piece of data that we can pull. The new system is going to give us a lot more ability to do that, which really the outcome isn't about restricting people, it's providing more access to more people. And so that's really the goal of the new system.
So is the move from the mind-body system to the Vermont system?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. And I've learned, I'm sure other residents have learned, because these very popular classes are totally booked, right before the class, usually there are people that cancel. They may wait until the last minute and then you can get in. So all is not lost. I mean, you can get in, but you have to work it. So I think having more tools is going to be very beneficial.
And a lot of times those waitlist things, like they can have a lot of depth on them, so, you can kind of have things.
And
where
the other
people
thing
are
is, if
watching
you
as they
just,
fill in.
if you just go every few days and check the class again, a lot of times you can at least get on the waiting list.
Right, and then you get bumped up.
And then you get.
Yeah.
There, you just gotta work your systems.
Pardon?
I didn't know if you could see him, I saw Gary.
No,
put his hand
I
up.
can't see Gary.
Just a comment on this. I know we all have problems. I have the same problem. I tried to sign up at 8 o'clock and at 8 o'clock and 5 seconds, I'm out. But going back, will the software that you have be able to accommodate the people? They take roles in all these classes. Does that get reported back to the system to show people that sign up and don't show up?
Yeah, we want to start tracking that, because the way we can. So this is like an amazing community, right? And it's wonderful that we have these free classes.
Yes.
But sometimes people don't understand when it's free and you reserve space and you don't use it, that's taking it away from someone else that could have used it. So the best way, and we like to do this, gently and let people know, hey, just so you know, you kind of miss this one. So probably even with the system, as we look at data, we'll probably bring that kind of stuff back. Because if you want to create new rules and policies, and especially ones that would ask of staff to put somebody on a bottom of a list, or they couldn't use the automated system to sign up, or somehow take away that fair thing, we can't just do it. We actually need to create a policy to do that. So I think what's going to happen is it's going to give us better information to track that, because sometimes you'll hear about that one class where that happens and it goes like wildfire and it seems like a bigger problem than it is. So that's what we want to be able to look at. And if it really is something which is a pervasive problem, like I know in one program area it is, I don't know so much for the classes, we would bring it back and just say, what do you think would be a fair way to handle this? Then we'd have to work with policy and draft a policy and take it through the committee.
But right now, you
Consequences.
can't really
Yeah.
go, I know, because I help take roll a lot of times, and it's the same people seem like they don't show up all the time.
Yeah.
But you can't, there's
Can't
not
do
the
anything
staff right now to go back in and say, these people didn't show up. And we just
So we
don't
don't-
have that kind of staff
We
right now.
don't take the roll call and that gets fed back into the program. Okay.
There's no staff to do that, right, Jackie?
Yeah.
We have general sign-in sheets, and so we, usually when they walk into the classroom, either check them off,
Right.
or for the larger classes, I know Adam's been helping out, taking attendance quickly, but even that, sometimes it's not as accurate, or somebody with that many people.
But even more so with that, we don't have the authority to do anything at this point. We have to go by our policies and our rules. And a lot of them getting revised, and a lot of them are getting a little bit more written with if you want to use this amenity, you need to kind of go with these rules. And if you are not in compliance with those rules, then this is the consequence. And we don't know what that is. Is it a temporary thing? Is it a 1-month sit-up, whatever? And is it subject to, what do they call it? An appeal by the board? So it's very complicated because of the nature of this community. Like, we can't just take things away and prevent things. So we'll figure, so it's gonna be a very interesting journey with this committee as we get into the new technology, and we can now see things in a really good measured way.
Is there a timetable for that adaptation in the system?
We're figuring out the timeline right now because we had to weave in some of the, like, we know how long it would take us to get our stuff in. We need connections with finance, which are gonna take a little bit longer. So we know that the first priority is the reservation system. We want that to be live June 1st. Certainly by the end of the year, we could probably get the
Everything is
classes
planned
up, but we don't know
for the
what
year.
that is, and then I think golf's at the end of that timeline.
The other question I was going to ask Jackie, when the resident uses the fob to come into the gym down there, what information do you get? Is it just a number or is it more detailed than that?
It's generally just a check-in.
Just a photo pop up.
Yeah, their photo does pop up and so you can see them.
Yeah, I
Pictures of-
imagine that.
Yeah, so it's just,
So you get the data then?
It's the resident
Yes.
record, right?
Yeah.
Name, address.
yeah, so you can just verify that they're indeed that person, they're not using somebody else's fob.
So when you give statistics, for example, we don't know how many are which gender in a summary like that.
No.
I'm not
like
sure this is
the-
critical, but I'd just like to understand it,
Yeah, I don't
because it could be critical for some other
believe
situation.
the data that the report generates
Yeah.
has their gender, but it would have their name and the time that they checked in.
Any other thoughts on this?
Yeah, another
Yep.
question on this, and I try not to drag it out too much.
That's okay.
So is the new system integrated with NetSuite or is it totally separate? It will be, okay. And is it scheduling just for the fitness center and?
No, so basically, we sought out a solution. Basically, we looked for a recreation solution.
Okay.
So we're going to be running room reservations, event program reservations, excursion bookings, all of the fitness center classes, and golf,
Okay.
retail,
I
and
see.
tea times.
Got
So everything should
All
be,
scheduling.
will be through Vermont systems.
Great.
The tie into NetSuite is the way they do the financials, which is already reported to the budget for, revenue that comes in, credits, whatever. So it's gonna make everything way more seamless,
Okay.
take away a lot of the paper. Yeah, so it's been, Kelsey is really leading the Vermont systems and has been doing an extraordinary job kind of getting all the departments together that need to be on board. It's like, herding cats, because everybody has their priorities they're working on. And so it's been good, but but it's going well.
Systems are big projects.
Yeah, it takes time.
Takes a lot of time.
Wow.
So, my last question on this topic is, might there be a role for committee members to mentor others in the community in helping to get them up and running, with scheduling classes, signing up for classes?
So this is what's gonna happen, right? So as we roll out different, because, so there's such an interest on how this is gonna be different. And I'll say, I hear probably on a daily basis from anybody doing reservations, how are we gonna learn to do this and it's new? And I think that's something system-wide. So the idea is, if anybody was part of a club and came to our reservations roadshow, we actually had people sign up so we could show, basically we gave them an overview of what the system was. And we were inundated because of staff coming in and out, and then we did like individual meetings with club presidents to guide them through it. So what we like to be able to have these sessions where we can instruct. When we started doing things in the rooms where people could do plug and play, again, if you're part of a club or a president, it was a way that clubs could use this built-in technology for free without asking for us for assistance. And we put together tutorials and did kind of met with different groups, had different kind of waves of sessions. We really want to do this. And it's not going to be, we're going to do a town hall because you're not going to get anything.
No.
We want to do it where people can touch it, can feel it. We haven't reached out to the computer club. It would be interesting to see if there's a little core of them that may want to work with us and they can be experts. So once we go through the first years, that would be a good resource, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think if we find residents that really get it in the different program areas, it would be great for us to train trainers.
Yep.
So we're kind of, we got to assemble that, and part of it is once we see it, once we drive it and understand it, then then we'll kind of put the training program schedule together. But it's gonna be, you know, if somebody's a club president and a fitness user and a golfer, they're gonna have to go to 3 different sessions. Like, we don't want to inundate people and really kind of make sure that it's in consumable bites.
Yeah, makes sense. Thank you.
Because you'll know how to do everything, but you know, that's the goal.
Well, now, I could say that'll be on future business. Let's go to reports from the subcommittee, and I think so far, Mary Lou is the only subcommittee we have.
Yes, well,
How's it going?
I put 3 new ones up, I did in the last couple of weeks. But the thing is, people haven't really been handing them in, have they, Jackie? And
I
so,
haven't seen any in my box lately.
yeah, and I don't know whether, I was thinking today that it might be good to go to the different clubs, you know, and ask them, I could just, you know, talk to the leader of it and just say, do you have someone, you know, you'd like to nominate, you know, even for the dance. I was reading like the letter to the editor and the form, and this woman got body calcium bone growth from tap dancing. So that's kind of interesting. But I mean, just an article like that, you know, when we find out by going to the different clubs.
We could also send if you want to just draft an email about the program to our club users of the fitness center, and we can send the forms and do that as well.
Oh, sure.
And let them know if you want to invite Mary Lou to present.
Oh, that would be
You want
good.
us to do that?
Yeah, no, that would be good,
Yeah.
because I was just thinking that
Yeah.
yesterday.
Yeah, that would be cool.
And of course, the tricky part is sometimes you want to nominate somebody, well, like I gave Mary Lou some names last year. And both people said, nope, I don't,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah,
no.
they have a right to do that, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah,
He
you
said
know,
no.
they're just very modest, or they just, you know, don't want to be.
I think it's okay. I mean, we made the change kind of during the time of the year where people get into their vacation mind, right?
Yeah.
Where time is weird. And so maybe it may pick up again now that people are here, especially if we help you with some club outreach.
I think-
Maybe another article in the paper,
Just a short one.
you know, about
Yeah.
the program.
Yeah, I agree with that, yeah.
Maybe Mike could make a special mention. No, it's such a great program. We would love it if people would let us know.
Well, any other questions about the subcommittee that Mary Lou and is it Cynthia working with you now? Cynthia's vice chair now.
We haven't really done much, because we haven't really, I don't
Haven't
have nominations, you know.
Yeah, I hit some people up too, so they said no.
Well, I think all of us could in our time at the gym and in the various classes, mention it when the opportunity presents itself would be helpful. There's a lot of inertia to get a new program like that up and
That's
running.
true, that is true.
If people go over and read the notice board and get the story, that's a kind of a reinforcement. But I don't see a lot of people doing that.
No.
I do it, but I don't see a lot of other people. Okay, good. Unfinished business. I was going to ask, and before anybody else brings anything up, about the status of the staffing, because we talked about that at length the last time. Any progress you could report, Jackie or Ann?
I think, I think we covered, if you look back in the initial report, we talked a lot about the staffing in that. Essentially, everything is close to full.
You've got people who you're about to finalize, right?
Yeah.
Right, yeah, so our admin assistants
Yeah.
have already gone through the hiring process. One started already and the other starts next week. So, and then the rest are finalizing.
Yeah. And basically, until you finalize and do the offers, we kind of have to keep it like, in case they back out, but yeah.
Yeah, I have one question. Like, like Joe is going to go off to have her hip done, Joe Nash.
Just so you, let's just
And I wondered
be careful
about,
about the information we share in a room.
I'm sorry. No,
This is
she
public, yeah.
shared it, but, okay. but we wondered about a substitute, when people are gone like for 4 weeks or more than that, can maybe another person that's on staff be asked to take a class like that, if they're willing to?
So so just so you know, and actually we talked about that last year. We're not staffed to that level, so we don't have constant levels. So, naturally people will have to take time off for vacations, or they're out sick, or wedding, or, whatever they are taking their leave for. And so we don't have the ability to either hire to backfill, and the way people's schedules are carved out, they would have to stop delivery of some other service in order to go to that. Like, they don't really have free time to pull that up. We don't staff that way. We really maximize everybody's. And they also have specialized
That's what I was
training.
gonna say.
So in particularly, and Joe is the best example of it. So right now, we don't have anybody with the skill level to teach Pilates as Joe teaches it. You have some people that might be able to do some floor, like mat Pilates, but you're not gonna have anyone that could do the reformer. And they all do train in different ways and different styles and teach classes differently. So you may be able to add another class, but it wouldn't be that type of class. It's a little bit different, model here.
People wouldn't mind too much having somebody different, you know what I mean? They're pretty, Rossmore people are pretty accommodating, I think.
It's just whether the person has the expertise to use that piece of equipment.
That's right, and the time.
And the time,
It's time.
because of the scheduling and stuff, right?
It's predominantly time. We've maxed them out.
Well, then the classes with chair Pilates have been pretty successfully filled from my observation. Well, I don't see all of them, but they're quite popular and well staffed.
It's a great
Is that a
program for this
fair
community.
assessment? Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great program for this community.
How many people can you fit in that large gym?
We're keeping the capacity at 45, and so just because for instructor too, they want to be able to
that
see
ratio.
everybody
I was
and
gonna
get
say,
around and
if you get more than
make
that,
adjustments.
that they don't get any individual attention because there isn't time.
Yeah.
Just find yourself looking just for any accidents, so you can step in and try to alleviate the situation. Any other thoughts about that? Okay, let's move on. So we're talking now about unfinished business. We've talked about some of it already. I'm glad you mentioned the parking. I'm only going to say this because I get flooded with comments about the parking thing. There's one particular individual just had back surgery, and I think her spouse drove her to the gym, and I was excited because I had encouraged her to get back when she could, and she wanted to get in the warm water, which I guess she did, but she complained about the parking. Now, mind you, the spouse that drove her down walks all the time in the community where I live, the part of the community I'm in. So I thought, well, he could park a long way away and have a little walk to get back there.
Right.
And actually, there are some nice places you could do that around there. But the point is that it is well needed, so I'm glad you haven't lost contact with that. I don't know the engineering answers to that, but there's also been a number of potential accidents with people, the way the parking works. And again, I'm not trying to give a solution to it, just mentioning that that is an issue. New business. Anybody got new business to bring to our midst?
If I can, so just so you know, on those two items, they would have bullets under them if there were things to discuss. If it's new stuff, that next item, you can pick up where you left off when we tabled your discussion.
Yes.
And that's where they can just say, these are new things we'd like to discuss. Like, but usually if it's new but not listed, it's because you want to say, hey, can we talk about this in the future? So now go.
What I was going to do at the beginning was to try and get the concept on the table, so that when we got to new business, I could actually take some action down there.
But
We'll
We
forego
can't,
that.
we can't take
do that.
action.
We'll forego that. Okay, so what I would like to do under new business is just get some input from each of you, especially those of you who've been here a long time, and Brian's been on corresponding committees as well as this one for many years. It seems to me that in our last session, Anne reminded us that we are a kind of a network that can bring input to the professional staff, maybe to this group, so that we endorse it or clarify it or come up with some suggestions. But to do that, I think we might be more effective if we had a subcommittee or two to do that. So I'm asking for input about whether or not in the future we should make a plan to agendarize the commission of one or two additional subcommittees to help make that network effective to bring information back to the professional staff.
I'm not, so what do you want the subcommittees to do? I just need to make sure it's within the role of this
Well, we haven't
committee.
determined that. That would be part of the determination if the movement here would suggest that that's a good mechanism to do. That's what I'm asking for. Of course, if I ask that, I'm then going to be asking who would be willing to be on the committees. So it's a twofold question. I just wanted some input.
I'm unclear about what the subcommittees would do.
Well, we'd have to decide that. But for example, we could have one with maybe 3 or 4 members that mostly tries to observe what goes on in the classes, the ones they participate in and the ones they hear about from other people.
Okay.
And then a separate group in that altogether would be the group that might look at the aquatics. How is it working with the lifeguards and all those kinds of things, and are people signing up and all those things that are unique to that situation. There may be other divisions. I don't have any magic on that, but there are two that came to mind to me.
Well, one option that I would see is if we are concerned about how the aquatics is operating and how the classes are operating, that each one of us could be looking at that. I mean, I do it just because I'm there and I'm on the committee and because it matters to me.
I do too, yeah.
And I bet we all do it to some degree. So I guess what I'm wondering about is to me, a subcommittee would probably need to have a pretty clear charge and meaning,
I agree.
what's it for? And I guess I'm not hearing what exactly.
Yeah,
it would be for.
at this time, I'm really just interested to know what you've raised. Do we do that enough as it is, as individuals?
Yeah,
Because
Good question.
it's much more manageable that way
sure.
than having subcommittees. Any other thoughts about that?
No, I totally agree with what Catherine said and what you just said too, Barry, that I feel like we're, just being on this committee, we're charged to bring in information that we might hear or we're ambassadors for this committee on fitness and aquatics. So I don't know right now the benefits of additional subcommittees.
And I just want to talk about something that really good that happened, that was organic, that happened here, kind of from bringing in your observation, asking why. Brian, remember when you were asking about the chairs, right? And honestly, none of us really knew how they worked and why they were so fixed in places they all were. And I think it's really a good organic thing when you're observing things and you bring it back here, and then we can respond, right? Because then there's learning, like, through everyone. It was a very fair observation. It didn't, it seems like, it looks like these things might be able to be a bit more mobile to provide more access, but I don't know that you were here when we reported on them. Some of them are like tied into hydraulics and they're fixed in place, or there's wheels, but they also weigh 1,200 pounds, so you really can't just move them here, move them there. And I just think that's the really great thing about having people here that are in different classes, lean a bit more towards aquatics, whatever. And I even get calls in between the meetings, which I really appreciate, for things which are kind of adjacent to the programs, and we try to problem solve. But just so you know, that like that organic input that you're doing,
Right.
Especially at this point of the meeting, because when you bring it up, it's like, let's take a look at it and figure out how we bring that back as we're gonna do something differently with it, or, oh, this is why they are the way they are and we can't, so.
I think we had kind of an organic discussion last time about responding to, or about pool safety, right? Safety of swimmers, especially when there aren't lifeguards there, and educating the community on what they can do if an incident does occur. Who to call, where the phones are available, if the phones are available at the pools, et cetera. And I don't know if we've done anything with that, but I don't know if that would qualify maybe as a topic for further discussion or a subcommittee to explore that.
So just so you know, so one of Jackie's projects, while the pools are closed, because it addresses a lot of things that have happened. And that's kind of part of it, like when we hear feedback and stuff, it's like these things are all connected. So we get complaints that maybe don't come to the community about the people that are not fans of family swim. Okay, there are signs about when you're bringing your family to swim, there are signs about like protocols, expectations of guests and all that. And I call it sign fatigue. We have signs all over the place and people don't see them anymore. So Jackie's putting together kind of a new plan on that. And it's also, it has to be done differently. So then, once we have the new plan, then it kind of ties into, it gives Mike a little bit more content for, oh, this is gonna be a new thing, and be reminded of that. So there's all ways when we take this stuff in. So she's kind of designing it versus what's there now, because people don't see it. And it's really funny when sometimes people will send photos, people violating a rule, like when they're in front of the sign, like those types of things, right? I mean, you have that type of a thing, but I mean, but those signs have been here forever. They're not, it's not that they're not faded, nobody sees them. So we're trying to do stuff through like those environmental changes, which then goes in concert with, you know, some type of a little press thing.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's forthcoming, but probably not till the next meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, so when we're talking about topics for the next meeting, that would be a good one to put on the next meeting, because maybe by 2 months from now,
We'll have the
a little
sign,
more,
the new sign.
we'll have a little
Got
more,
it.
you know.
Yeah.
So,
I have a request. I don't know where this belongs, but up at Hillside, on the big wall in front of the boiler room or whatever, I think, probably where the pool heater is and the gas and stuff to treat it. There's a big mural, plastic mural, that's really faded, maybe it's gone.
That actually was taken down.
Okay, so it's gone.
It's gone, yeah.
Are we gonna put something, are we gonna replace it with something? Because I thought it was actually really nice to have, you know, it was palm trees and it was quite nice before it got really faded. So are there plans for that wall?
I will tell you, so we don't have plans to do anything on the wall. We're not sure, I mean, somebody may know where it came from, if the club donated, like, we don't know what happened. And the thing with murals, if there was gonna be something there, it would be something installed that's temporary, because in California, murals have rights. I'll just leave it at that.
It could be on grommets, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
grommet thing that's on
Yeah.
hooks, right?
Yeah, but as of
Something.
right now, we don't have a plan to do anything.
I miss it, that's all. I just want to weigh in.
The disrepair.
It was flaking and it was very, very faded to the point where you couldn't really tell
No,
what
you
it was
couldn't.
anymore.
Someone in the art studio may feel creative.
Again, I appreciate that, but there's actually restrictions with murals.
Oh.
So like, we would have to figure out how to do it, and it's like, our job isn't to broker that type of stuff. If something organically came, they want to donate something, but then what's art to you is not something to someone else. So you kind of have to, like, we're already dealing with this on another project that's happening.
Oh, wow, okay.
So it's not as simple. If we could do a like for like sunset, you know, figure out how to get it done, like, you know, we could look into that easy enough. But we don't want it an art mural up there because it's gonna get damaged, just being adjacent to chlorine and whatnot.
Yeah.
And if you do something that's a mural, that's a piece of art, piece that an artist created, there are rights to that creator. There are rights to the mural itself.
Like for like would be great. I mean, just
So,
instead of just the blank wall. Okay, that's.
all right. We might need it for some new signs too, just so you know, just so you know.
No words, just like a scene would be
Wait,
pretty.
no, but we actually need people to look at the.
Any other thoughts about things for the next meeting? Issues?
I have one.
Yeah.
If we could consider a discussion around the transition plan, or how soon you think the center would stop scheduling indoor pickleball once the new courts are made, or would there be a plan to keep the schedule the same to the end of 2026?
So what I would say is, that's really not something for here. Okay, we really need to work, so we work with the clubs year to year, and so we're committed for this year. So towards the end of the year, we'll probably be working with the club. We need to see what the use is of the new pickleball. There may be some natural attrition. So you want to do is you want the change to happen, see what the impact is. But that really, so basically the facility use is something which is managed on an operational level through the staff.
Okay, so,
So for now.
So we work with the president of the club, unless they assign a different committee.
yeah.
So for now, we're set for 2026. 2026?
I guess that was-
That was the question.
That was my
That's what you're
question.
asking.
So we're set, so nothing's happening. So it's not like the doors are opening and this is closing. They're kind of different users. We know that.
Sounds good,
We
thank you.
know that, yeah.
Yes, yes.
So I have a question. So you brought up the idea of subcommittees. And I think several of us spoke to if one of the roles of a subcommittee would be to kind of, notice what's going on in the classes that might be of concern or what's going on in the pool that might be of concern. I think several of us said we're kind of already doing that.
Yeah.
So my question is, if we see something that is of concern, what do we do with that? And let me just give one more thought about this. And that happened to me, a few weeks ago, and I called Ann about it because I wasn't sure, should I bring this up in the meeting or not, this one? And she was very responsive and is helping to take care of the problem. And I will just say that it has to do with parking and safety for all of us.
So that's the whole thing. If it has to do with safety, immediately call me, call Kelsey, call Jackie.
Okay.
We have to take care of those things as they come up. Now, sometimes people will come to us and it'll come as safety and we may not remedy the way, because like for instance, we were having, we had emails from people that wanted us to do wall-to-wall mats essentially in the locker rooms. And there's been like a mapping, like a mat, did I say mat or mats? And there's been like a matting scheme that's been the same. And something happened where the men's room was missing a mat that the ladies' room, and we just wanted to make sure we were keeping things consistent. Because for us, the evidence in things like people will say, oh, that's gonna be a slip risk. I know different people are unsteady, but we go by what the real reports, what the real issues are.
Sure.
With something with like the traffic versus pedestrian potentially, just, this is on a radar, it's a different group that kind of takes care of that. Immediately, we need to be on that.
Yeah.
So those observational things, like we need to figure out where it files. But we don't want to get into too many details here because it's not really the committee.
No.
But we are your like liaisons for even any of the adjacent issues. You see something happening at the dog park as you're going into the fitness center, call us,
Yeah.
Like please, like just, safety is always when it occurs, when we're notified, we put it at the top of the list. We have to do that. I will say, if something happens with staff, we ask that it's not brought here and we deal with that completely out of here. And that's really something important, but again, we do, want to make sure that we address that and we're responsive.
And which number would be best for us to call with a safety issue?
Um,
I needed immediate attention.
My desk number is, no, because usually, I would say you could call me or Tom Cashin. Oopsie, didn't mean to call him. But I'll give you my number. My number is 988-7628.
7628, thank you.
And what I will add here is that
You want to give him Tom's number or no?
Yes.
So Tom Cashin, who's the safety.
is that Ann was very responsive. I mean,
988.
immediately responsive, which just made me feel really good. So part of what my question was, okay, that helps us know for safety related issues, we need to
Yeah.
call you, Tom Cashin, or one of you, right?
Yeah.
But if it's not a safety issue and we observe, again, knowing that we are observing versus being on a subcommittee, but
Yeah,
each
yeah,
one of us
yeah.
is observing, what do we do with observations that might be of concern, not safety concern, but some other kind of concern?
I still think you should call, because what happens is, if we're hearing about it, it's good for us to say, hey, you know what? Why don't we put something together to address this?
Good,
You know what I mean? So it gives us an idea of what's happening in real time that you're experiencing. And I will say in most programs, like we hear stuff.
Sure.
And we hear from people that are not committee members, and we're trying to, to resolve things as we go. And most of them don't reach the level of anything that's like a committee thing. But you may see things, and if it's an important enough to you because you're seeing this kind of consistency, like, let us know. Let us know.
Good, thank you.
That was very helpful.
I think like a lot of it happened, things were happening where, gosh, so this may have been like a year and a half or 2 years ago. It's when,
I'm sorry, 988.
remember when Harriet was the president, we had all the people come from water aerobics? There was,
Yes.
when there was that change, there was all this festering that was happening, and I didn't really hear from committee members about it. And that would have been a good thing, and I don't think we had anything proactively like planned for that meeting. We let everybody have resident forum, and I reached out and then had meetings with people afterwards. But knowing about that stuff, we can get stuff on an agenda so you can have more of a, and that's the important thing too. You can have, because you are tied a little bit to what you place on the agenda. So if everybody came to resident forum, you'd be listening to them and be like, oh, thank you, we'll talk to you after. And that's a little bit like unfulfilling, right? Because they want to have response then. So that's why we want to try to get ahead of the things
Sure,
that are really
good.
kind of like permeating out there. So we can just kind of give background.
Good, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, we usually still follow up with anybody that shows up with resident forum anyway, because you want to have a deeper dive and have more of exchange of information, but like you want them to know that you know and that it's being addressed in a more formal setting.
I've been involved in a couple of those and they worked out very well way between meetings. We just made the contact
Yeah.
and dealt with it and it got satisfied.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, let's see where we're up to now, coming up to the end of the meeting. Are there any things unsaid that you wanted to say that we haven't categorized or addressed one way or the other? Well, then we are adjourned. Thank you for all being here.